If you want to know what someone's true beliefs are, don't listen to what they say their beliefs are, simply watch what they do. The way we show the world what we really believe doesn't come in what we say we believe, it comes in how we spend our time, how we spend our money, and how we act, how we behave. The things that we do consistently, repeatedly, over time, shows others what it is that we really believe. It's easy to say, oh, absolutely, that's a belief or a value of mine, but the rubber meets the road when we actually are called to act. In our action lies what our true beliefs are. I was recently reading a book, Take the Stairs by Rory Vaden, and this point was so well made, I had to share this story with you. So Rory Vaden was in college, and his college professor asked the class if anybody understood the law of the pendulum. And the law of the pendulum states that once you release an object from a point, it cannot return to a place higher than from which it was released. It can only return to a point at the same level that it was released or lower. And the professor asked the class, who here understands it? And everybody said, yeah, I do. And then he asked, who here believes that? And again, most of the class or all of the class said, yeah, I believe that. Then the professor pulled out a pocket pendulum and began to set it in motion. And as the pendulum swung back and forth, the professor asked yet again, who here understands it? Who here believes it? And there was a student in the class that said, of course, it's obvious. Of course, it's so self-evident that the pendulum cannot get back to a point higher than from where it was released. So the professor then called that particular student up to the front of the classroom and asked him to stand on top of a chair that was on top of a desk. And Rory Vaden, the student who was asked to do that, did so, was standing on the chair, and then the professor pulled from behind a curtain a giant ball, sort of a cement ball that was anchored to the side of the wall at a place that was just right around where Rory was standing, slightly lower. And he said, do you still understand the law of the pendulum, that this cannot go back to a place at or higher than where it started? And much more shakily, Rory answered, yes. And then the professor said, do you believe it? And at that moment, he released the ball from where the area was that Rory was standing and set it into motion. And Rory, even though he had said, it's self-evident, it's obvious, of course I believe that and understand that. What did he do as the pendulum was flying away from him, about to make its return back towards him? He jumped off the chair and off the desk to get out of the way. And so even though he had said, absolutely, I believe that, I understand that, he showed the class and the professor what his true beliefs were in the moment that he was tested. When push came to shove, when he was up against the wall, when it was really a test of what do you really believe, he wasn't quite as sure in that moment. His fear, his anxiety, his fight or flight response, his subconscious programming all took over and said, actually, what you believe is you might get hurt. You might be in harm's way right now. You better get out of the way. And so I thought that was really interesting. The questions I have for you today is, what do you really believe? If the pendulum was released near you and coming back at you, would you be as confident in the beliefs that you had just stated? What is it that you really believe? What is it that you're really showing the world? I believe in the right to free speech. I believe in the right to have our own opinions. I believe that it's important to be courageous. But you know what I just realized is over the last week since the election happened, I haven't been as vocal. I haven't been as courageous. I have been not as sure if my belief in free speech holds as true anymore. I notice I've been quieter. I've been afraid to comment. And so through my actions, I've actually identified that my belief that I had that was unwavering of free speech is great, and there's never any blowback. It's always the right thing to do to speak your mind and share, of course, respectfully what your feelings and worries are. I've been tested a little bit recently, and I'm not sure if that belief is as strong right now. I know I say that it's important to overcome fear and do hard things, and I said that was a belief of mine a long time ago in the past, but At one point, I woke up and realized, hey, you know what? You're not willing to run a marathon. You're not willing to ski down a mountain. You're not willing to snorkel or paddleboard. You say you know it's good to do hard things. You say you know it's good to be challenged, but your actions demonstrate that you don't really believe that entirely. That's not entirely true. And actually, it was through that realization, that discovery, that I knew I had to do some of those things because I wanted to be aligned and congruent with my beliefs. Whatever we do, however we act, however we behave, that's what actually shows other people what our beliefs are. And I'd like to ask you a question today. Are you in alignment with your beliefs? Do you act in accordance with all of your beliefs? Are you showing the world the right beliefs? Or are you saying you believe some things, but really through your actions, you're demonstrating you believe something else? With that, everybody make a great day. Hope you're doing awesome out there on this beautiful November day.